So we're gonna go 4, 6, and then
4, 6, and then
name. Who do you appreciate?
yeah.
Not just turn the computer.
Okay. Y'all ready? Good evening. It is 7:08 p.m. The Board of Trustees of the Porte Independent School District is now convened. I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present. Every student's success is our #1 priority. As the Porte ISD Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, adopt policy, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and communicate the district's vision and success to the community. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. School board meetings are open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. Audience participation is limited to the patron presentation portion of the meeting. Board members may not respond to the public comment section. These proceedings may be recorded, and I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking. Thank you for taking time this evening to join us and for your interest in LaPorte Independent School District. Tonight, for the presentation of colors under the command of we have Cadet Command Sergeant Major Jamie Alvarado, Cadet Corporal Megan Atkinson, Cadet Private Taylor Pugh, and Cadet Private Colt Walls. Will you please join me in standing for the Pledge of the Allegiance?
Ready, halt. Left face. Present colors.
Will you join me in the pledge of the United States flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Order colors. Colors. Post. Ready, seat. Center face. Present arms. Order arms. Mark time, march. Forward, march.
Okay, tonight the invocation will be given by Mr. Russell Shoppy, Board Vice President.
You can please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come together tonight with humble and grateful hearts. We pray for your guidance as we work together to strengthen our district and provide a happy and healthy environment for our students and all members of our LPISD family. I pray this as always in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Okay, with no objection from the board, we'd like to move to item 6, public comments. The board would now hear those who wish to make comments or have completed and returned the public comment participation request. This section will be conducted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act and board policy. Complaints and concerns for which other resolution channels are provided shall be directed through those channels. Mr. Shoppy, do we have anybody?
Yes, we do. We have one. Gretchen Knowles, Community Liaison for Harris County Commissioner Adrian Garcia, wants to talk about School Board Recognition Month.
Good evening.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for letting me be here on behalf of Commissioner Garcia. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Because I can talk louder. Okay. Oh, gonna need these. So, Commissioner couldn't be here, but I'm the liaison for the area, and I'm happy to be here representing him. Okay, here we go. Harris County Precinct 2 Commissioner Adrian Garcia celebrates the outstanding LaPorte Independent School District school board members during School Board Recognition Month. Thank each of you for your dedication and your commitment to LaPorte ISD. As volunteer school board members, perform the critical work. You're elected to guide LaPorte ISD strategic plans, create budgets, adopt policies, working closely with Dr. Jackson and the public and whatever else they need you to do, right? Your leadership and that hard work are critical to the success of your students. We recognize your commitment to children and the belief that all children can be successful learners and that the best education is tailored to the individual needs of the child. Your collaborative work with educational professionals, parents, and community members to create the educational vision for your students has led to LaPorte's great success. For all these reasons, Commissioner Garcia urges all citizens to join him in recognizing your dedication and hard work to meet needs of today's children and tomorrow's. Commissioner Garcia honors you with a certificate of appreciation acknowledging your unwavering leadership in public education and continuous service to the students of your community. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I have a photo?
Yeah, okay. Board.
We can do it there. Yes, maybe. Thank you.
I'm taller than and my beard looks better. Just not as black. You really do look goatee into goatee.
Okay, if there's no objection from the board, I'd like to take another item out of order. We'd like to go to item 9B. Action and discussion item B, consider and approve possible amendments to superintendent's contract.
Mr. Jonda, I move that the board amend the superintendent's contract on the terms discussed in closed session. That we
Okay.
authorize the board president to finalize and sign the agreement.
Okay, Mr. Hanks made a motion, seek a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Shoppy. Call for the vote. It is passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay, and with that, we will now go back to item 5, recognitions. And I believe we have a performance by Leo A. Brazil elementary student.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Rizzuto Elementary students are under the direction of Miss Mona Gibbs.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Board, thank you on behalf of Rizzuto Elementary. We're throwing it back to our fall semester where we honored our veterans for their military service and our current members for their military service. And so tonight we want to do the routine that we did for them in honor of you and your service as well. So thank you so much from these boys and girls and from Rizzuto Elementary.
Outstanding.
Go Rockets!
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Outstanding. Outstanding.
That was an outstanding performance performed by the Leroy Brazil Elementary students. Let's give them another round of applause. Just for a note, for a minute's sake, Chris Murdoch had to leave the meeting at 7:16 p.m. for the purposes of the minutes of the meeting. With that, We'll go to item 5B, Partners in Education Recognition.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would now like to welcome to the microphone Ms. Terry Cook, our coordinator for our Partners in Education program. She has a couple of honors.
Thank you, Adam. Tonight I have the pleasure of recognizing as our Partners of the Month 2 companies that have long demonstrated support for LaPorte ISD, its schools, and its students. In fact, both of these companies, Mitsubishi Chemical and Gulf Coast Educators Credit Union, all it takes is a phone call to them and they're like, how can we help? So we're going to start tonight with Gulf Coast Educators Federal Credit Union, which is represented here tonight by Michael Berry, the Chief Information Officer, and Marissa Alvarez, who's the Business Development Specialist. We met Michael almost 15 years ago when we were told, you really need to get Michael Berry on your foundation board, and the rest is history. He continues to serve on the foundation board, has been the foundation president, and continually takes a leadership role in committees, such as facilitating the tabulation of scores for the awarding of innovative project grants, or setting up the system for volunteer sign-up for the Hoops Classic. Michael also has served on our Teacher of the Year Selection Committee. For frame of reference, when Michael first started volunteering with LaPorte ISD, his son was very small. Now he's one of our high school students in the district. So that just gives you an idea of how long he's been doing this. When Marissa came on board with the credit union, and you've been there about 5 years, right, Marissa? She immediately reached out to see what she could do to support the district as well. And she can often be found organizing meals for our teachers or serving gelato to employees on a hot summer day. So y'all come on up, Michael and Marissa, and I got a little bit more to talk about you. Gulf Coast Educators Federal Credit Union also is a major supporter of the LaPorte Education Foundation as a sponsor for Breakfast with the Stars, the Foundation Golf Tournament, and the Hoops Classic. In addition, through the LaPorte Bayshore Chamber of Commerce, Gulf Coast Educators Federal Credit Union is a major bag sponsor for the new Teachers Luncheon each year, and they also provide many door prizes for special events throughout the year. One of the highlights of the work that they do to make employees feel special is that they provide the generous gift cards for the LP Heroes program sponsored by our Human Resources Office. We are very appreciative of all that Gulf Coast Educators Federal Credit Union does for LaPorte ISD. We have a certificate, please.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Michael also has his wife Amy and 2 of his sons here with us tonight too. Now we're going to move on to recognize Mitsubishi Chemical America Sornal. That's a mouthful. Mitsubishi, you can say it right. Mitsubishi Chemical continually supports LaPorte ISD and its staff and students in many ways. And the company is represented here tonight by Brian Kinkoff, who is the general manager of the LaPorte site. I first had the pleasure of meeting Brian about 13 years ago through the Leadership LaPorte program. And then we were immediately able to recruit him to be on our Teacher of the Year Selection Committee. You know how that goes. Today, he is a 10-year member and past president of the LaPorte Education Foundation Board of Directors, and he has served as treasurer of the organization for many years. In supporting the foundation, Mitsubishi Chemical has sponsored Breakfast with the Stars, the Foundation Golf Tournament, and the Hoops Classic many times, and Brian has served on many different committees. Brian, who was also the LaPorte Bayshore Chamber of Commerce's Volunteer of the Year in 2020 and is a past chairman of this chamber board, also is the current president of the Rotary Club of LaPorte. And through his leadership, the Rotary Club is entering a new Partners in Education partnership with James H. Baker 6th grade campus. Mitsubishi Chemical will partner with College Park Elementary School as well. Brian also serves on our Partners in Education Advisory Board. In addition, Mitsubishi Chemical provides a $2,500 scholarship to a student graduating from the LaPorte ISD Academy of Viola DeWalt High School each year. Brian also lives in LaPorte, and both of his children are LaPorte High School graduates. Without a doubt, Brian and Mitsubishi Chemical America Sorno are devoted to helping meet the needs of the community, and we're grateful for their continued support of LaPorte ISD. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, we'll go to item 5. Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, we're good. That's the one we're going to.
Okay, that's right. 5C, Board Recognition Month.
Well, in case you haven't noticed, it is Board Recognition Month. Every January is School Board Recognition Month. It offers us a perfect opportunity to thank our elected school board members for caring about the future of our students and the community. Porte ISD joins other districts across the state in celebrating these community volunteers for their commitment and contributions to our children. Forward Together is the theme for 2023, demonstrating how local trustees have led the way as Texas public schools have continued to deal with unprecedented challenges over the past few years. While we appreciate the efforts of our trustees throughout the year, January is set aside as a special time for us to celebrate you and your contributions and to thank you for caring so much about the future of every child enrolled in LaPorte ISD. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sit back, relax, we have a little something special.
And today is a great day to be a Bulldog.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias por su servicio.
Hello, board members. We are so happy that you are always there for us. We appreciate all of you. We appreciate all that you do for central office, for our community, for our kids in our schools, and we just want to say thank you. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
The Academy family wants to thank the LaPorte ISD Board of Trustees. Thank you for all your support.
Hi, the LaPorte High School counselors would like to say, thank you, LaPorte trustees, for all that you do.
Thank you, trustees.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, trustees.
Thank you, LPISD School Board. You rock.
Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you so much, trustees, for all you do. We appreciate it.
Thank you, trustees.
Thank you, Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Board of Trustees. We appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you, Board of Trustees, for all that you do.
Thank you, trustees.
Thank you, Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Board, for your service to our district.
On behalf of Board Recognition Month, we want to say thank you for your support of the curriculum and instructional team.
Thank you.
Gracias por su servicio. Thank you.
Assembled by a lot of different people, but Sam Zabrowski and his students put that together, and so thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the recognitions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to item 7, administrative reports. A, superintendent's report. Dr. Jackson?
Thank you, Board. Good evening, Board members. And we're now more than a week into the spring 2023 semester. And students and staff are already working hard towards success on the STAR and end of course exams that will be upon us before we know it. Though LaPorte ISD celebrated the winter break with 2 weeks of vacation, school-related activities still abounded during that time, including several basketball games, soccer games, and preparation for the annual LaPorte High School musical. There are some accomplishments in our district that are worthy of celebration. First, on January 7th, 2 LaPorte High School band students were named to the Texas Music Educators Association All-State Band. That's a very big deal in any school district. Let's give them a hand, please. It is the first time since 2015 that LaPorte ISD has been represented in this elite group of musicians, and we are very proud of their outstanding achievements. The All-State Band will perform in February at the Texas Music Educators Annual Conference. We're also very proud of our students who participated in the LaPorte Reading Challenge during the fall semester. Students at our top 5 participating schools logged in more than 100,000 minutes reading their favorite books. More than a quarter of our students participated in the reading challenge during the first semester, and we're pushing for more participation as the challenge continues in the spring. Of course, we know that literacy is the foundation for all learning. This challenge, which is facilitated by Beanstack, helps to foster a love of reading by giving students a chance to read books of their choice. On Monday evening, more than 200 8th grade students and their parents attended the Connect Fair at LaPorte High School, where they were able to tour the campus and talk to high school staff members and counselors about what to expect as they become freshmen in the coming school year. The event featured representatives from LaPorte High School academics, athletics, fine arts, and CTE departments, as well as representatives from all campus organizations. We are planning another similar event to be held for the different grade levels. Also on Monday, we picked up where we left off in December with meetings of our first-year teacher mentors and our aspiring leadership program. We very much value professional development in our school district, like these programs, and as our students are the ultimate beneficiaries of this professional development. The Texas Legislature convenes every other year for 140 days. So lawmakers met today for the first time since 2021. The 88th regular legislative session officially began at 12 noon. It will end on May 29th, referred to as Cena Day. However, Governor Greg Abbott could call for special sessions after this period, and those by law can only last for a maximum of 30 days. The governor also has the sole authority to determine which items the state lawmakers will consider during a special session. As always, Board, we believe education will be on the minds of our lawmakers this legislative session as they work to address school funding, teacher shortages and salaries, voucher bills, local property taxes, Chapter 313 agreements, and safety and security and mental health for students and staff while at school. We will continue to keep the board abreast and updated on the specifics of the legislative session as it moves along. This will conclude my board report for this evening, Mr. Board President.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Any questions for Dr. Jackson on the report? Okay, with that, we'll go to item 7B, Partners in Education update. Terry? It's always so good to see you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Jackson asked me to give you a bit of an overview on what the Partners in Education program has been doing since I last spoke to you in November. As you've noticed, we've initiated the monthly Partners of the Month recognition. We've also confirmed with 3 companies that we have that were previous partners to see if they were going to continue in that role. And they are doing some things, but post-COVID, we're hoping to look at some ways to re-engage them further in our schools. We've held 3 initial planning meetings for new partnerships. Altivia with Leo A. Rizzuto Elementary School, South Region Driving School with Lomax Junior High School, and Beacon Federal Credit Union and the Academy of Viola DeWalt High School. And this month we have 2 more introductory meetings planned. Mitsubishi Chemical with College Park Elementary School and the Rotary Club of LaPorte with James H. Baker 6th grade campus. We've made other contacts with other prospective partners in education with the initial goal of having at least 1 business partner dedicated to each campus. We have produced 2 newsletters using some more newsletter software, and I hope that you're all getting those. And we appreciate the help of the LaPorte Bayshore Chamber of Commerce, which sends the newsletter to its electronic membership list of over 700 people. Our original mailing list of around 120 includes the board members, administrators, principals, assistant principals, counselors, and other personnel, the foundation board of directors, and those who have expressed interest in the Partners in Education program. Through the newsletter, we put out the call for guest readers to go to our elementary schools prior to the holidays, and we worked with the elementary schools to facilitate this. In the most recent newsletter, which was sent to chamber members yesterday, I have a little interesting story. We publicized the sewing club at the academy. And today we learned that the sewing club, from the sewing club sponsor, who is the school nurse, Wanda Anderson, that Sergeant Novosad had come by with a pair of new shears and a $100 gift card from Judge Denise Matrano. So we're really excited about how our community responds to our students' needs. We made a presentation to the Rotary Club of LaPorte at the December 14th meeting. We also attend the Citizens Advisory Council of LaPorte meetings, and we'll be speaking to them at an upcoming meeting. We've started a Partners in Education Twitter and Facebook account. As of yesterday, the Facebook account is up and running to publicize the activities of Partners in Education. We've developed a Partners in Education brochure that you should have at your place that we give out at presentations and will mail to prospective Partners in Education. We've also put that on our website. History Maker Homes presented a $2,500 check to the school district to help families at Christmas time. And Jancy Alfaro, our coordinator of social and emotional learning and student wellness, she and I worked together to get those gifts and wrap them to go to those families. We put out the call for guest readers, as I mentioned before. Charlotte and Penny and I had the pleasure of working with Raising Cane's as they came to our community. We facilitated the appearance and performance of the LaPorte High School cheerleaders and chatos at the grand opening of Raising Cane's. And during the grand opening, Raising Cane's gave the LaPorte Education Foundation a $2,500 check. Raising Cane's also provided 400 free meal certificates to each of our elementary schools for their use as perfect attendance, or AV honor roll acknowledgments. We're real excited about that. That night, the LaPorte High School Choir sang Christmas carols at Raising Cane's, and Raising Cane's gave back 15% or $200 of that night's proceeds to the LaPorte High School Choir. Yesterday, when I met with Jeff Martin and Frank Vance as plans for Lemonade Day start, and the district will be working closely with the principals and the chamber to finalize the format and the dates for that event. And I'd just like to thank Adam Holland and the communications staff for their tremendous support, as well as Eddie Hill and his staff, in particular Rustin Royale, for their support and assistance. And if you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer them.
Hey, board. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
I feel bad because Terry was looking forward to enjoying retirement, but she doesn't do anything. She doesn't do anything like half-hearted. So it's a blessing, Terry. Thank you sincerely.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Good to be
Thank
back.
you. Okay, we'll go to item 7C, bond and facilities update.
right, good evening and Happy New Year, 2023 coming at us. Tonight will be very brief, and I provided a one-page that is this on your table there, just because there's some details. A lot of work that's happening daily pertaining to the bond as we get closer to that February date to ensure that we're prepared as a committee and district administration to present to you guys. But I'm going to walk us through some of the work there, starting from the left, and we'll move to the right. Every day we're finalizing our propositions. As we know, the 3 propositions, A, B, and C, spending time on outlining our campus needs to ensure that all our campuses are getting what they need through that piece.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
Coming back. There we go. As far as stadium design, tomorrow we have a big meeting. We'll be at 75% in our design phase. As far as drawings and how prepared we are, that will hopefully be at that 100% as we get closer to that construction date. And also working heavily on the technology baseline component to ensure that when we come in front of you, that we know exactly what we want to give for our teachers and our students to carry us out for years to come. Phasing and scheduling has become heavy in our planning as far as organizations. We know if this moves forward, there's going to be a heavy transition from 18 to 24 months that we have to have places for athletics and graduation and all of those things. So we've got teams together that are starting to prepare that, reaching out to surrounding districts to look at rental fees and what all that looks like as far as how we can continue to support our kids and our staff during that time. Developing a bond marketing plan. We're working heavy on that, and hopefully we're starting to build that out for you. And when we have our board workshop on January 24th, kind of present to you what that looks like from the calendar stance and some of the action points that we'll be working on from the district side on marketing the bond and how we'll advertise that message to our community and our stakeholders. Obviously, January 24th, we have the board workshop. Again, we'll have the marketing review for you. Presentation will also dig heavy into the financial capacity and what that looks like from our history and bonds and what we can do moving forward. So you guys have all the information that you need, and we'll really spend some time on each package and what those packages will provide to our district. And finally, the 25th of January, sorry, I keep doing that. 25th of January, we will have our last steering committee to finalize those packages and get a recommendation prepared to come to you in February and lay it on the table to cover. Any questions as far as where we are? Anything that you see that you may have questions on?
Board, do you have any questions for Dr. Bowman?
I'll just say to the board that there's a lot of smoke coming out of the ears of everybody over here, everybody in the central office that is helping to kind of pull this together. And so special thanks to you and all the folks that are really helping to make that happen. So thank you all so much.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Bromley, so I'm basing this on the 2014 bond. I know all bonds are different, but I know at the time we had basically this 3-phase approach. First phase was what we're doing now, exploratory, meet with community members, engineers. Once the bond was called for by the school board, we went to phase 2, and phase 2 was a political action committee. And so I saw an email this week that we were going to employ a marketing firm, which I think that's great. But in 14, I guess what I'm getting at, we used at the time it was PBK Architects, who was doing several of the new buildings. They provided us their marketing director, and they were instrumental in helping us get that out there. Aside from working with that marketing firm that we're employing, people, the stadium designers, they have marketing staff that we'll be able to utilize in addition to who we're going to be paying.
That's right. So how could we have some of somebody to help us with that? Yeah. And honestly, Jeff, that's a good question to ask, because as soon as we start having this next question, that's going to be the next phase of that. How do we go about that? So we haven't talked a whole lot about it because we've got to get through this, but that's going to be the next step. Absolutely.
What's I know we're meeting on the 24th. What's the rundown? Is that when we call for the vote on the bond? When does that happen?
That meeting on the 25th is 26th or 24th, yeah, whatever day now. But that's for us to really give you a comprehensive overview. We've been giving you updates at the board meetings, but we're going to take time with the board in a workshop setting where we're not limited by time for you to ask any questions and for us to just go as deeply as we need to go, so that really you can walk away from that night knowing fairly confidently, how you feel about this thing for the February date, because we have to pull the trigger in February about the 17th, right?
Gives us a little cushion, obviously.
Yeah, gives us a little cushion.
If we need to have another meeting,
yes,
or anything like that, we've got
any
more
other
time.
questions and clarifications? Absolutely.
That's exactly right. All right.
That was gonna be my question, what all should we expect at the 24th, so you answered my question.
We just want to bring some experts into the room to kind of, again, answer a whole lot of those deep questions about how do you do this without,
Numbers.
And so you'll get it. There's some of the board members that have been to those meetings, but several of us haven't. So we want to make sure everybody hears that same thing together. And then this marketing piece, because it's a huge piece. We met with a firm and a professional last week that just, I think you're going to be quite impressed with just the way that they use data science now to kind of help us to really look and dig down into how do we get this message out? How do we determine who's really going to vote, when they're going to vote, if they voted, those kinds of things.
I don't know if y'all want to do this, but would it be worth it to, at that 24th meeting, could we potentially record that to, I know we invite people to come to the meetings and we have panels and committees that have met extensively on this, but a lot of the community still hasn't really heard the truth. If this is a meeting where we lay everything out there, is that something that we can record
that.
Put it out to our social media and things like that?
Absolutely. And I know why you ask. I mean, we want to make sure that no one says they don't understand what we're doing. Absolutely. We can do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more plug. You know, we've started our clock for the intruder audit by the state. And right before Christmas, we had our first one. So I want to give kudos to Ms. Greenwood and her staff at Lomax Elementary because they passed with flying colors. They stopped the intruder. But that is happening. We're on the clock now for January.
Right.
So our campuses are very prepared. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to item 8, consent agenda. A, determine and approve any consent agenda items. B, approve board meeting minutes. Number 1, regular board meeting minutes from December 13, 2022. C, receive principal's reports. Number 1, Early Childhood Center. Number 2, Bayshore Elementary. Number 3, College Park Elementary. Number 4, Heritage Elementary. 5, Jenny Reed Elementary. Number 6, LaPorte Elementary. Number 7, Leo A. Rizzuto Elementary. Number 8, Lomax Elementary. Number 9, James H. Baker 6th grade campus. Number 10, LaPorte Junior High. Number 11, Lomax Junior High. Number 12, LaPorte High School. Number 13, Ville DeWalt High School. D, receive financial reports for December 2022. Yeah. E, receive human resources report. F, receive budget and tax rate calendar for fiscal year 2024. G, approve budget amendment. H, approve employment of professional staff. I, approve purchase and renewal of integrated administration and student information systems. J, approve purchase of student laptops. K, approve receipt and first reading of TASB Local Policy Update 120, affecting local policies CKC Local, FNG Local, and FO Local. L, approve second reading adoption of TASB Policy Revision for CO Local. M, approve second reading adoption of TASB Policy Revision for DEC Local. N, adopt a resolution number 2023-01 regarding support for Texas 21st Century Community Learning Center, CCLC, managed by Communities and Schools of Brazoria County, CIS. Mr. Shoppy, do you mind reading the consent agenda, please?
No problem. A, B, C 1 through 13, E, F, H, I, J, K, L, M, and N.
Okay, seek a motion.
So moved.
Ms. Thompson made the motion, seconded by Mr. Shoppy. Call for the vote. It is passed unanimously. Thank you. We now go to item 8D. Mr. Haynes. Receive financial reports for December 2022.
I
Sorry.
just had a question about the food service fund, and it really, I was wondering if we have set terms for our purchases. Do we have our year-to-date? Do we procure our our beef, for example? Is it for a 3 months, 6 months? Is it for the year? Do we have guaranteed pricing just for the entire year?
Yeah, we put out bids before every school year.
Okay, so then that pricing is protected for the year. So we're not seeing that. Okay, that's what I needed to know.
For beef specifically, it is protected. Some others are subject to fluctuations.
Commodity
Subject to
things.
fluctuations. That's-
Right, lettuce and, okay. That's what I needed to know. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's a restaurant guy.
What, do you work for Gringos?
Board, any further questions? Okay, with that, seek a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Shopee.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Hanks. Call for the vote. It is passed unanimously. Thank you. We go to item 8G, approved budget amendment. Mr. Hanks.
Sorry to be the problem child of the day, but I just wanted to say publicly that number 91, if you can just confirm that number 91 there, that our total recapture payment for this calendar year, fiscal year, was $58,771,928. Is that correct?
That's what's budgeted, right.
That's the budget?
That's what's expected.
That's what's expected.
Yes, sir.
So $58 million is going out the door to the state of Texas.
Which is contributing to a record surplus in Austin.
Yes, that they don't know how to spend.
Congratulations.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that I understood that and I read it right. And $58,771,928. Okay, good to know. Out the door. Okay, thank you.
Number.
Any further questions, board? Okay, seek a motion.
Moved.
Okay, Mr. Hanks made a motion.
Second.
Okay, it's kind of tied there. I'm just gonna give it to Ms. Crutcher.
That's fine.
Okay, and call for the vote. And it's passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to item 9, action or discussion items. A, approve proposed 2023-2024 instructional school calendar.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Jackson. So I stand before you tonight again, and in front of you, you should have a manila folder, and let me just tell you what the contents of the folder is. You should have 2 calendars in there, and you'll see that both says draft A, but one calendar says as of December 13th, and then draft A that says as of January the 10th. So the third piece of paper that you see in front of you is the changes, the revised edits based on your recommendations from our December board meeting that is in red. So I'll go through it with you so you can see what those recommendations were from December. So if you put both calendars side by side from our December board meeting, recommendations from the board was 1, the change of the start date for teachers to return to school for professional development. So instead of Thursday, August the 3rd, the recommendation from the board was 3rd and 4th, which is a Thursday and Friday, to try to find a way to start the week of the 7th. So if you look at draft A as of January the 10th, this is an option, and I'll tell you where the changes were. Again, keeping in mind that teachers have a contracted 187 days that we have to keep adhered to. And so what we did with that is we moved, if you look at one of the days that we took away was the October 6th day. So October 6th on the draft of December the 13th would have been a teacher and student holiday. So that would have been a one Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday break, kind of a fall break, because we do know that there are some districts who has the whole October, kind of like the whole week in October off. So we wanted to, again, as I shared in December's board meeting, is that was one of the requests of teachers, is that they needed a little fall break. And so because if we take away, start on the 7th, one of those days that now the 6th would be, that Friday would be a professional learning day. So teachers would be coming to school. Students would not, but teachers still would be here. So that was one of the days. If you go to, in the spring, April the April the 1st. April the 29th, March the 29th is Good Friday, so that's Easter weekend. On the draft of December the 13th, the April the 1st Monday would have been a student-teacher holiday, so it would have been a Easter weekend break. So they would have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So if we were to start on the 7th with the second day, that day now, on the draft of January the 10th would be a teacher professional learning day. Students will still be off, but teachers will be at campuses. So those were the two changes in terms of having school start on the 7th. That also will push back the first day of instructional school. So on the draft of January the 10th, school would start on the Wednesday, August the 16th. From the draft of December the 13th, school would start on Tuesday, December the 15th.
And I just want clarification. So for April, that bad weather day, that would just, instead of it being a professional learning day, it would just be a regular day.
It would be a professional learning day for teachers, but students will still be off. But we have it as a bad weather day just in case.
But so we would lose a professional learning day for teachers. Should we have to utilize that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes ma'am.
And we don't have to make up that professional learning day?
No.
Okay.
We don't have to make that up.
Thank you.
So overall, what you would see is, and then the other ask from the board in December was the November voting day, which fell on November the 7th. So that is now an instructional day. So students will be at school that day. That would give us now 2.83 days to play with just in case we have an emergency in terms of a disaster, natural disaster in the district. So that gives us 2.83 days to play with within the school year. Those are the biggest changes in terms of your recommendation from the board in December. So now I leave it to you. Any comments, suggestions, thoughts?
Well, I appreciate you going back and taking the board's considerations, and I think it looks great.
I have a question for you. What the teachers originally asked for, if my memory serves me, which I know we've been through holidays and everything else since then, was more planning time.
So
and those two kind of break weekends.
Yes, ma'am.
So we've broken up those weekends. Are we still giving them the planning days that they asked for?
Our planning days we were able to kind of maneuver that, so that's okay. But really
So they're getting the same number of planning days?
Yes, ma'am. If you look at 11 and 6, really remember what we did this year is instead of just having planning days, professional learning days, we implemented instructional planning days, which would be a work day. So teachers, we would leave them alone. It would really be their time to plan on their own. So with that, in draft A as of January the 10th, they still have 3 instructional planning days, which is their days.
And there were 4 on the original one?
Yes, yes ma'am.
Okay.
So, and the other ask that was from, the other thing is we just need to keep in mind is in that October, and a lot of times in schools, they call it October, what is it called? Rocktober. Okay, Rocktober is when, it's kind of like a Rocktober slide where people feel like in October after school started in August, people's, their energy level kind of lowers, kind of goes down a bit. And so a lot of school districts, what they have done is made that week, the second week of October, a full week off. And we saw that this past year with some districts, and we heard from teachers saying, oh, well, why didn't the report do that? And so because of that, this year when we started creating the calendar, we wanted to make sure that we brought it to DIC to show them that option to say, hey, we can't give you a full week because that would extend our days of school to after Memorial Day, which we do not want to do. But we want to at least give them, instead of just a 3-day weekend, a 4-day weekend. And so that October time would have been, they would have had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off, which gave them a 4-day weekend. That would have been the same for that Easter Sunday break. So they would have Good Friday.
But they still have a 3-day weekend in this
Yes, ma'am. Good Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Dr. Bond, I know that like,
and in October.
in certain years, you guys give these, the staff, like at Christmas time, they come in that Friday after the kids get out, right, on say Thursday, or whatever that is. Or maybe it's the last day of school, they do a half days.
Yeah.
I know it's not always,
Yeah.
but is that a possibility here, on the 6th, that you guys could work in to where the staff, I mean, it's professional development day, so I'm sure they're gonna be happy, that's 2 days in a row not having to deal with kids and having time for themselves, right? But is there a way to cut that to a half day?
Which day are
On October the 6th, that weekend that you're referring to, that you want it to be a 4-day weekend?
We're looking at teachers having their contracted 187 days. So they have to work 187. So if we split it in half, we have to find another half to give them that full 187.
So what some districts have done in some of our neighboring districts, because everybody's under the same constraints as far as what is it, 187 days?
Yes, sir.
What's a sacred cow in the school world for many of our staff is wanting to be out before Memorial Day. Am I correct? And literally, some of our neighbors, they just weren't able to make it happen. So they were able to build in the extra days for I call them mental health days, the mental, relaxation days, right? But they had to come back after Memorial Day. And
right.
So, I mean, and I jokingly said it the last time, we can't have our cake and eat it too. I mean, we can do one or the other, but it's going to be much harder to do both. But that's an option.
Right.
That's an option.
But they're still getting a 3-day weekend in October
Yes,
and a 3-day weekend over Easter.
And you're also getting the 2 extra days. And to me, it's a huge deal that you guys were able to push it back from that Thursday and Friday and have them start on actual Monday. So that's an extra, literally 4 days that they're saving on that week.
And we did look at other districts to look at their calendar. A lot of districts have approved their calendar. For instance, our neighbor Deer Park. So like Dr. Jackson had just described, what they've done is, so if you look at our last day of the 27th is Memorial Day. So we have 3 exchange days, which means teachers are able to work through their professional development so they really don't have to come to school on 28, 29, and 30. But at Deer Park, 28 and 29 are considered teacher professional days, so they would have to come to school. So that's how they extended their Memorial Day week. So we made sure to keep 27th from 27th on, we start summer break. If teachers do not meet their professional development exchange days, they would come those days.
I have one more question, I'm sorry. And I hate to keep talking about makeup days because Dan knows I'm a little bit of a jinx with that, so I need everybody to knock on wood. But with, it says 2.83 days. So that's almost 3 days, but we only have 2. How does that work? I just want to make sure I understand.
Then we wouldn't finish our year before.
So we might have to add a day. We don't. Again, I'm telling you, knock on wood. But anyway, I want to make sure there would always be that adaptation. Okay.
There's actually, when you look at the minutes in the calendar, there's 2.83 days plus the 2 bad weather days. So we have 2.5 days before we even have to touch the bad weather days.
Got it.
Okay?
Thank you. That's what I wanted to make sure that we weren't just relying on those 2 days.
Well, we don't have the choice to use our bad weather days unless it's bad weather.
Exactly.
Right.
How does a district of innovation play into? I was told that if you're not deemed a district of innovation, which of course we are, you cannot start rather for a certain time in August. How does that play into this calendar?
District innovation is no matter what, we have to adhere to to our contracted day. So 187, and then the number of minutes that students have to go to school. In terms of the district innovation, a lot of times that piece has to do with more creativity in terms of what instructional days look like, what your curriculum looks like. So a lot of times that has to do more with internally what happens with what we do with these days, professional learning days and so forth.
So again, I'm not advocating for this, but if we wanted to in the future, instead of adding days into the summer or what, we could add 10 minutes to a school day. I'm not saying I'm not proposing that, but that is a possibilty because of our district of innovation. I've told that several districts are going to that. Is that could become a commonplace where they add to kind of tweak the hours of the day?
We could tweak, but again, that is almost a ripple effect of what happens once we add 10 minutes. 10 minutes also affects transportation. It affects parents.
And your teacher still got to go the 187 days, no matter what.
And it
It's
affects
law.
daycare. So there's a lot of things that we have to keep in mind if we extend days.
It's really, this
minutes.
is really more about the teachers coming in.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the difference.
You're
is,
making the teacher
you know,
go.
So
years
they're based
ago,
on the hours and these,
years ago, students had to go X number of days,
Right.
180 days
Yeah.
without waivers.
so they're on two different systems. I guess
So
what you're saying.
yes, they changed the student system, but they didn't change the teacher system.
Right, teachers is still
That makes
Of course,
187.
so you're held under two different
Yeah.
things, yeah.
And like you said, there's some districts, for instance, I think it's Lancaster, where they dabble with having 4 days of instruction. I think they went to 4 days or something. So that's part of District of Innovation, is things that you do that, but you have to still keep your minutes and keep your number of days for teacher contracted days.
I don't want to lose this opportunity. I think the discussion, you know, about the mental health days, I think that's becoming even more important, especially in our public schools. And that if we've adjusted it to accommodate this template this year, that it's not, you know, put on the book, on the shelf forever, that it's something that we look for, you know, for the future, just for mental health, for our teachers. I think we really need to try to be creative and find those areas, if they present themselves again, to give those teachers that break, because they need it. Like October, there's the crash, so.
So Dr. Brown, I'll ask you, and Lord, please indulge me. And really, this is to a principal. I don't know if a principal wants to even answer this, but we're already making some concessions based on what staff had shared with us, what they wanted. Would there be a bigger brouhaha if we came back after Memorial Day, since we're already kind of giving up some things that the staff has asked for? And I'm just. Does anybody understand what I'm asking? Anybody got a thought about that?
Oh, I will.
Because that would answer all of that.
We kind of chit chat a little bit about it, but I'm just speaking for me.
Stand up.
Give the woman a mic.
I feel like actually coming back for those 3 days, if you're considering Memorial Day, Sunday, and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are great days to finish your board ceremonies, have your celebrations. Start so late in the year that it doesn't always give us an opportunity in summer and that last week of school to do all the things that we have to do to close out the year. I don't think it's necessarily something that we don't want to consider.
Well, and the only reason why I brought that question up is because you could preserve we could start later. We could preserve the 4 days that we just talked about. I kind of hinted at mental health, mental wellness, because I've heard staff say that. But you could preserve those things, but you would have to just come back for those 3 days.
3 days.
But you would certainly, you would have that Easter Monday, would you not?
Easter Monday
Yeah.
and that Friday of
Yeah,
October.
I mean, we're already working on concessions, and it's the board's decision on how they want to go about this, but we're already kind of giving up concessions, so it's worth us asking that question, is what I'm saying. I may be by myself thinking.
Well, actually, though, if we gave back those 2 days, they would have to come 2 additional days beyond those 3 exchange days, because those 3 exchange days are figured into 187 days.
So they would have to come back after.
They need 2 more days after those 3 exchange days, if you put those 2 dates back in. Yeah.
They'd have to come back after
It would be
Memorial
Friday
Day.
and yeah.
So those 3 exchange days are really considered part of the 187.
Right.
So we
And
take
most
those
of them
away.
take care of those 3
Yes,
days.
yes. So we really gave them
Those
the
are really
option
taken
of
care of.
finishing up before Memorial Day.
So board's just got to give us some recommendations, right?
So either draft A as of December 13th or draft A as of January the 10th.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
I don't want this to be like the Price is Right, and they all shout.
Yeah. Like, I want to phone a friend to my principals in the audience.
But hopefully, I mean, with the discussions going on with the board and with the exchange days and things like that, that's definitely for future calendars too, taking that to the DEIC and having those discussions early on and kind of look at, see what, get good, accurate, polling on that, and maybe include those kind of calendar options in there and see what that looks like for the staff.
So we did give it to DIC.
Approving this thing again?
I'm ready to vote on this tonight. I'm talking about future calendars. I'm not talking about messing with what they have today.
Am I correct? When we polled the parents, did the teachers have their own poll as well, or did they have to participate through the same poll that we did?
That's the same poll.
Okay, so there was no distinction, there was no differentiation to show what our teachers chose versus what our parents chose?
No, unless they made a comment, but again, this was given to DIC, so DIC are representatives, and when we brought it to DIC, what we did say is they are representatives for their campuses, so they took it back to their campus even before we put it in the survey, so I gave the DIC a week and a half to take it back to their campuses to talk to their staff. So they did have any comments, any suggestions before I put it into the survey. We got that.
So we're gonna make a motion on one of the, how does this work?
Yeah, I would suggest when you make a motion, be specific as to which draft, just include in your motion what date you're referring to as far as approval. So with that, board, I seek a motion.
I'll make a motion. My personal vote is to make a motion to approve the proposed 2023-24 instructional school calendar based on the January 10th, 2023 draft A.
Okay, Mr. Martin made a motion for the to approve the draft A of January 10, 2023, and then second. Okay, with that, the motion dies without a second, so with that, I'll take it to seek another motion.
Or, Mr. President, you can give me direction, you can give me even more specific direction as to what you'd like to see us do. We're gonna meet again on the 24th, and so certainly that could happen then as well. I mean, the board needs to give me the direction as to where you want us to go, and we'll
Personally, I'm ready to vote on it, but I'm waiting on a motion.
Are we late in getting our calendar out?
After probably this month, we're gonna be really late. School districts are putting them out, and people are starting to kind of plan their years out.
Yeah.
I know this is democracy, and I'm great with whatever you guys collectively decide, but I just want to reiterate, is this the first time in our history of 100-some years that we've had teachers start in July, based on our calendar? Is that right?
No, they're not starting on July. They're John.
No, we have our new teachers come back in July. That's what this calendar proposes.
Ms. Viator, has that happened before, if you can recall?
I was going to say we've had teachers come back that first week of August, but I can't recall if we had 3 or 4 days before the teachers came back. So I'd have to look at that. I'm not quite certain, but most of the time we have people like this year we had them come back August 1st, and it was that 4 days.
But it's not the current teachers coming back.
No, sir. It would be our first new employees having orientation, and so
the current teachers would start the first week of August.
Yes, sir. That would be correct according to that.
With either of these.
Yes, sir. Well, and I think the second one, this one, would be the 7th. That would be the second week, starting that Monday. But first, the new teachers would come back the week before.
The full week before, not just the first and second.
So they would come back on July 31st. That's the Monday.
With the previous calendar, the one we were considering. Depending on how many days we put in. Like this year, we have 4 days. So if we had more than 2 days, more than 2 days, it would come back before August 1st.
But the difference with those brand new hired teachers, we pay them for those days.
Well, and what they do is they'll get the exchange days automatically.
Oh,
They get those exchange days because there's no other way most of the time for them to earn those because they weren't here or hired during that time when they had that opportunity.
How many extra days do they have versus a tenured teacher?
So this past year we had 4 days, and we've had 3 days sometimes. I don't know that we've made any decisions.
Well, if we started on the
teachers.
7th, they could still come back on August 1st. I mean, I know it's 1 day from July 31st, but I mean, if we needed 4 days.
Well, as a teacher, I'm struggling. If that's what they chose that first one, I almost gotta go with that.
Well, yeah, but you're not.
Because that's what they chose.
We're not giving apples to apples. Like, you guys gave us a comparison of the January 10th and the December 13th, but I didn't, as a parent and a board member, I never saw that board survey that came out. So I don't know, I mean, they chose one of two options, is my understanding.
I certainly don't mean to banter, but I'm sorry you didn't get that, because everybody in the district got that, didn't they?
Right.
Oh, I was told that everybody in the district got that.
My point is that maybe it's my fault for not seeing it, but I don't know, I don't have it in front of me of what the option was. And so maybe they picked that based upon, what I do know is that this option for January the 10th has not been presented to the teachers. Right? Is that fair statement? Like, they have not had a chance to vote on this, so we don't know if they prefer this or the other.
Why do we approve that right now when we don't have a choice?
But from the administration standpoint, Jeff, we didn't take it back to DEIC because we didn't want to go have a whole nother conversation.
That makes sense.
And then we bring it back and it's still not presented and not approved. And so we wanted to at least kind of figure out where the board wants us to go with it, and then we can share that one more time.
Right.
So we don't want to bring them back and they say, well, y'all keep telling us what to do, but you're not taking our recommendations. And with all due respect, that's all I'm saying. That's why we didn't bring it back. Am I right, Dr. Brown?
Yes, that's correct, sir. So and our next DIC meeting is in March. But if we have to bring it back, what we would do is bring it back together. But again, our first round of it was with two options. The second option that I did not put in here was because it was obviously not voted on we had over 3,000 votes, and we did have comments on each of the votes on what they voted for. But the draft A as of December the 13th was what was the majority vote from teachers and community and Facebook and everyone talking about the two options.
If I may, I think what we gain by doing the first option, the 2022, the December 13th, I think that if we're trying to compare and compete with other districts, if they in fact do go beyond Memorial Day to get those other days, I think that, the mental health days I think are important, and I think that was the outcry. I think that's what we heard in the survey, where the teachers need those days, and I value those more than I do them cutting their vacation short. And I might be the minority there, but that's just my opinion.
So you want to put that in the motion?
Yes, I do. I would make a motion to approve the December 13th draft day.
Okay.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second discussion.
So, Mr. President, I wanted to just ask Ms. Viator, HR, just for the sake of this conversation, because we're trying, look, the best discussion we've had tonight is to talk about the instructional calendar, because it drives everything that we will do next year. The instructional calendar is very important to our school district. So my question to you, and I hate to put you on the spot, but would there be a way that new teachers did not have to start that early, and we could weave in taking care of their days in another way? Because I get it. I get that that's starting early. And I empathize with that. I really do. People are trying to have things to do with their families. But if there was a way that we could still keep that calendar, but take care of those folks, right, throughout the year, is there a way to do that?
Yes, and we have actually talked in our HR department in the last couple of weeks. We in the past have done some orientations in the summer. So if we hire people prior to March, April, May, June, we can maybe set up some things so they can come early. That's an option. We've even done in-service where we have done a great job of trying to compact it and done 2 days, and then done some other things either with the principals, where things can be done on the campus, weave that into some campus orientation, and we can get some HR and technology-based things. So possibly we could do that.
I guess I'm trying to meet the board with what the concerns that you have. Would that help any?
We can.
No, and please, y'all. I'm one vote, and y'all don't have to accommodate me. But I'm just saying, well, we're talking about mental health, right? And you're taking. It's like, to me, it's a question of semantics. You're taking it away from. You're just reallocating. To me, it's a bigger mental health for me personally to have extra days in the summertime, to have that extra week in the summer for my mental health and my family's mental health. That's all I'm saying. That's just my personal opinion. I have no problem. If this is the will of everybody else.
Do that. we might
compact it
be
down.
able to still accomplish it, what I'm saying, Jeff.
Yeah,
We
I
might
mean-
be
To
able
not start in
accomplish that.
July
Perfect.
for the new employees and try to look at that on August 1st and then weave the other things in and make it all work.
So since we are talking about specifically the new employees piece of it, this last year was a challenge, to say the least. And we're, from a hiring expectation and prediction, are we going to be trying to staff those positions up until the very last are we still going to be in that same boat where we're not going to have that opportunity to orientate them as well either?
There could be,
They would
but
just have to-
there are still some that we are able to hire, in advance, and we can look at some of those things. Some of them do like to be able to attend things with the campuses, if there's some in-service that the campus is providing or that we're providing through the instruction department. And so, but yes, it could be we are hiring, or we could still unfortunately have some vacancies like some districts do right now, as we're still trying to work through. But we would really work hard, as we do every year, to hire as early as possible when we have vacancy.
So as Dr. Jackson was saying, Trustee Martin, we can work around, like you're saying, to try to get as close as we can so we do not hit July for new teachers. Keep in mind, like Angie's saying, but those days, we're going to create in the C&I department some PD trainings anyway so that they can use it for those exchange days so they do not have to come back in May, after the end of May. So those will be considered exchange days for those new teachers and other teachers who want to be involved. And so also, when you, thank you to the board for creating the instructional coach positions that is under Julie. So with those positions, as you're asking, we work with new teachers year round. So if a teacher is hired the first day or the second day of school, those teachers have an instructional coach that we assign to them. That this past year, we had instructional coaches in the new teachers' rooms for like 2 or 3 weeks, the first 3 weeks of school. So we can work around all of those support that teachers need. We know that's the #1 priority, is making sure our teachers have the support they need. So we can work around that. We'll work around looking at ensuring that the teachers will start the 1st of August and around that August, so they don't have to come in July. But again, those are exchange days, so that helps them. So it helps them where they do not have to come back in after Memorial Day too.
I got one question, Dr. Brown. On the original one, the December 13th one, with the start date on, school start date on Tuesday, we have 8 green days of professional learning. I'm assuming that's for tenured teachers, right?
That's for all employees, yes, all teacher employees.
Okay, all right. On the other calendar, we only have 7. Could we make this one 7 so we could at least have 3 of those, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd for new teachers?
So
that they're not,
You're gonna have to put it somewhere, you're gonna have to put that day somewhere during the year or something, and get that 187.
Okay. All right, forget my question.
For the election day.
Yeah. Well, no,
You can still make that, that's teacher ordained.
yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry, I was just trying to see if there was a way in August.
No, the December one.
You guys, I mean, that's a concession. I appreciate it. We can figure out a way. I don't love it. I'm one guy, but the fact we make any concession to where we're not having teachers start in July, I think that's a blessing. I'll go back to, I've 20 years in the staffing business. And we talk about all the obstacles in terms of recruiting and retaining new employees. If Deer Park, Pasadena, or anybody around us is having new teachers start a week later, I think that's another obstacle. But this could be a way to help offset that, having them start on the 1st of August. So that's really what I cared the most about, and I'm good with it.
I think I heard from our professionals that we can make that happen.
Okay.
Perfect.
Right now, the existing, we have Mr. Hanks making a motion and Mr. Shoppy second. Would y'all be amenable to amending y'all's motion to include the concession Mr. Martin was talking about allow staff to work with that option?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I hear that both of
Yes.
okay. With that, we have motion by Mr. Hanks, seconded by Mr. Shoppy, for the draft A of December 13th, 2022 with a concession to look into the whole exchange all discussion we just talked about. So there you go. So with that, we'll call for the vote. And it's passed unanimously. Okay. There we go. Thank y'all.
Thank you. We know it was.
Okay, we will now go to item 10, action on closed session items. We do not have any. And so we go to item 11, closing comments of the board trustees and superintendent. A, attendance of recent district and community events. B, announcement of upcoming district and community events. C, outstanding performance by district staff and students. Anybody would like to relate anything?
I'd like to acknowledge the elephant in the room, just the overwhelming support and all the kind gifts that everybody took the time to provide for all of us. Very much appreciate that. Also, this month's Becoming a Man series at LaPorte Junior High, we'll be discussing finance, personal finance, savings accounts and checking accounts, and spend less than you make and all those things. Yeah, right. So that's coming. So that is that's super exciting. And again, just extend my gratitude for everybody and what you do on a daily basis. It doesn't go unnoticed, and I really hope that you feel the synergy I feel when I'm either on campus or having dialogue with anybody when it comes down to this district and the kids involved. So kudos everybody. The work, I feel like we're making some momentum and some progress, and I just want to continue to build on that. So thank you, everyone.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'd like to thank the mentors who have been visiting the campuses, whether it be with the elementary students or actually even our campus life director. There are some amazing things happening through these opportunities. Hearing some of the stories, I'm really grateful that we have that coming into play, and can't wait to see how that continues to grow across our district.
Okay, I'd like to second Mr. Hanks's thank you for all this stuff. It's kind of overwhelming every January, and it's unnecessary, but it is very appreciated. We serve because we want to serve. We serve because we're honored to serve. We serve because we care about you and we care about our kids and our community. So this is just icing on the cake for us. Secondly, we have our musical coming up at the end of the month, which I'm really looking forward to, and I hope everyone will take the time to enjoy. I know between our musicians and our actors and our people that are building the stage and doing the lighting, I know they're working hard and getting ready for us, so I encourage everybody. If you've never been, you're missing out, and as long as I've lived here, I've only missed one because I was sick, so I'm trying to keep my my record going there. Anyway, just thanks for what you do every day, and we appreciate you as much as you appreciate us.
Anybody else?
I'll echo that. I mean, we sincerely appreciate all the energy and effort and thought that went into these gifts. I truly feel guilty like getting these because the reality is we don't do enough, right? And so, I mean, since I don't want to minimize, I appreciate these, my fellow board members for the willingness to serve, but more so we appreciate you guys, the staff and administrators and teachers and students and all the people that make this happen on a daily basis, because God knows that you guys are the ones that make this engine go. So we appreciate you guys, and I hope we're not getting in the way, right? More than anything, like we appreciate the opportunity to serve, but we know that the real work is done by you guys, and we thank you for that.
I just want to echo what Mr. Hanks had said earlier, and appreciate all of you, and thank you for the appreciation that you've shown to this board. I would just want to add, Dr. Jackson and I got a chance to meet with State Representative Dennis Paul, who represents pretty much most of LaPorte, and we did discuss with him the school finance system, the funding, just looking at ways that would help improve the financial climate of this school district, and of course recapture was one of those topics as well. And he did take note of our suggestions and concerns, and I hope we might see some positive outcomes that come out of Austin this legislative session, and we'll wait and see on that. With that,
Can I add one thing? I'm sorry.
Sure.
I just, when you talked about the legislature, in Leadership TASB, we're going to visit the legislature in early February. So if there's anything or anyone in specific that y'all would like for me to go visit while we're there, just shoot me a
Make
note.
you a t-shirt that says $58 million.
I really think I should wear that.
Want my
I really
$58
think
million
I should.
back.
Except in my Leadership TASB group, there's some people that pay even more than we do.
Yeah.
But
Well, then we'll make them shirts too.
yeah, they need shirts too. You know what? That's a good idea. I'm gonna text my group when I get home. Anyway, but we'll be visiting in February when they're in session, so we'll be in Austin for 3 days
That is awesome.
doing advocacy.
I'm putting you on the spot. Did
Go
you
ahead.
want to include any, like, on your past Leadership TASB things of what you visited, got to see?
Oh, wow.
A little bit briefly. I know it's everybody, but
It's, I would encourage anyone serving on the board to really think about, it is a time commitment, but it is the most inspiring cohort of people I've ever been a part of. Just highly energetic, highly hyper-focused children advocates I've ever seen in my life. And, you know, I feel like I'm the understudy in the room, just learning from all these great people. So it's really been a blessing for me. It is a time commitment, but on our trip to Huntsville, we got to visit one of the prisons and see how the ISD that is tasked with the state, by the state, which is an appointed board, I didn't know, it's not an elected board, it's appointed board by the governor, and that board runs that ISD that educates inmates. So we actually got to visit the school, visit their library, talk with some of the inmates, look at some of their work in like their CTE fields, and then go into the room where they're all working on getting their high school equivalency exams. And it was really an eye-opening day. It was quite moving, and that was probably the biggest gut punch for me, was that visit.
I highly recommend it. The application is in, I believe, May?
Yes.
And get recommendation from superintendent and board president, and I highly recommend it. It's a very educational experience,
Yes,
and you
it
get
is.
it's eye-opening. So highly recommend it.
Yes.
So, okay, with that, we're going to adjourn.